Folks, whilst John's doing that, you need to talk to us, yeah? I can see the people in my room and all of them, they're looking at me, they're nodding, they give me thumbs up. It doesn't look like anyone's worrying too much just yet, but I can't see the other rooms, okay? Talk to us. I've got my chat open, so if you don't understand something, tell me. I'd prefer you to ask me a question going, Aaron, you're speaking, I don't know, Klingon to me. Proper geeky reference there, but hey-ho. Just let me know, John, when we're ready for the next recording, yeah?
Sorry, no, all done.
Excellent. So we're recording, yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. For this one, folks, create yourself a new query. Add your tables back in. You will only need the console and the games table for this one, though. Don't worry about the genres just yet. You don't have to add all of your tables in if you're just querying specific data. So what we are going to do, folks, is we are going to look at how many different titles there are for each product console. Okay. Now, just before we construct this query, to explain the business question behind it, if I am running a business like HMV, if it still even exists, or game, or whatever, and I am selling products, I will want to know at any one point how many products I've got stocked for a particular console. Okay. Now we are looking at obviously quite old data in specific cases. It's not fully up to date yet, but we can see how this goes. The two fields that I want you to add to this, obviously, is going to be checking the console, and we're also going to check the titles as well. So please add product from consoles and title from the games table. Now with this, obviously, if we were to run this query, which I'm not going to do because we know what it's going to do, it's just going to output information, a whole heap of information, which is pointless. Because I wouldn't expect anyone in this room to literally sit down there and then go, oh, look, there's 20 Xbox games because I've counted each row separately. That's not what we do with databases. So we need to perform a different type of query. Towards the bottom, we've still got sort. We can't do a count unless we do an expression or we use a different view. Now, we'll go down the easy route to start off with rather than write an expression for this. If you can see, top right-hand corner, next to parameters, where we put the property sheet on, you've got this total. Click that for the moment, and what you should be able to see is the total section appears in our query. Is my magnifier still up? And I'll zoom in for you. So we've now got this row, pre-populated by group by. Group by, all that means is it's going to allocate all of the specific text within the groups. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to come to the title section. We're going to drop it down, and we have a number of fantastical words. We're going to use the count function today. Now, I am going to go through quite a number of these, but I'm not going to go through them all today because we just won't be able to get through them all today. I'll obviously hold some information back.
Do that.
Yeah, and then you've got group by.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay, so now we've got this particular element. If we were to run, just minimize that. We now have, there we go, just expand that out a little bit for you so you can see it all. We now have a number of different pieces of information. I have all of the consoles that I currently stock games for. Woohoo! And I have a number next to that that tells me how many titles I have against that particular product. Now, this is a great way to just count up entries and put them into categories. I'm going to pick on somebody from a different class. So, Tommy, I'm going to pick on Tom Lodge in your class. Tom, what I want to know from you is, if I am the owner of this business, what consoles should I stop stocking for?
Which one should we not have anymore, Tom? Tell us.
Would it be Sega Game Gear, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Turbo Graph X16, and Virtual Console Arcade?
Okay, so just to expand on that, Tom, why did you pick those particular ones?
Because they've got little amounts of games for them.
Okay, so I've already got a small stock listing for them, yes?
Yeah.
What are those consoles? Just spreading it out there. They're retro from our room. Yes, retro consoles. There's somebody that sounds like they're breathing heavily into the mic.
I'm just muting it now, hang on.
So I've got retro consoles. Now we know that depending on, like Jake says there, thank you, Jake, actually you've hit the nail on the head. It fully depends on the actual store. Not everybody wants retro consoles anymore. Not everybody wants to get the Sega Game Gear and play Chess Master on it. But the consoles that we have more of are sort of heading towards, obviously, PlayStation 4 category, obviously old data, but we've got a lot more of the more newer consoles with a lot more stock, a lot more titles, which is correct. Because with the original PlayStation, they literally released everything. Okay. Right. I'm going to go back to one of the questions that Abby proposed earlier. Oh, just one second, George. So I've created a new query. So come to the query design.
Sorry.
This one here. No, it's okay. Add your console in your game. Excellent. And then put the product first, so you can just double click it, and then put the title next. Okay, click totals up here, and then drop this group by down to where it says count.
Thank you.
Just about halfway down. Okay, and then if you run that, that will show me. Right. So, sorry about that. Going back to what Abby said earlier about checking a price of a product. This is great. This gives us a nice little overview of all of the consoles. Yes, really nice and simple. But what we might want to do is actually go, Microsoft has decided to come to our store, hand us a notice that says you're no longer allowed to stock our products because we've been bad-mouthing Bill Gates. So we need to be able to identify just Xbox One and 360 to see how much stock we have of those particular games that we need to go find. So we're going to refine this query a little bit more. This is the overview. Let's refine. Back to our view, please. And I'm going to magnify in again, because again, we don't need the tables up at the top for this. We can look down towards the bottom. So because I want to query the actual console in this case, what I can do is I can write the criteria here to search for something specific. Brandon, currently, we've got a count of all of those, but yes, we can add that a little bit later. I am going to come to that shortly. So there are multiple ways that I can approach this, folks. If I was to type the following in, equals Xbox 360, I am going to return just the Xbox 360. Okay? That might not be great because it's going to miss the Xbox One. So returning to one of our previous sessions that we did, we looked at what wildcards are. Yes, so George is quite right. What do we change for the word like on this? All right, okay. So quite easy. We're going to use the word like. What is the symbol to return all values? Oh, brilliant, Jake Pace. So Jake has recommended that we change it to like, Xbox, and a star. So wildcards. Wildcards, the asterisk, that shift 8, that star, means that anything after the word Xbox will be returned to us. Okay, and we have to change equals to like because we can't have Xbox Star. There isn't an actual console called Xbox Star yet. I mean, Microsoft might think about it in a little while, but hey ho. But what we have now got is like the word Xbox, and if there's anything else after it, it will return. Now, if you return that query, what do we get? Okay. So the use of the word like and putting a criteria in, what we've done now is we've literally refined a really basic query of I want to count all of the titles up to I want to check what particular consoles I've got for a particular brand and how many titles I've got associated to that. Yes, there is, Jake. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Right. Okay. Tutors in the other rooms. Has everybody managed in your rooms to get that query working?
Yeah, I think so, Aaron. Yeah, I think we're getting it. I think people are starting to get a little bit more confident with it, hopefully.
Good,
Looking
good.
around, seeing queries in my room, which are working, which is good.
Mr. Smith?
I think we're there.
Marvellous. Marvellous.
I'm just checking everyone first.
Right. RIP OG Xbox. Right. We're going to do one more thing with this particular query to make it and enhance it even more. Okay. Just again, out of curiosity, is it useful for us looking at this data to literally define the data that's coming back to us? What does this limit? What is this limiting, folks? If I'm just calling just the Microsoft Xbox 360 and one. Charlie? Yes, so we're now losing that ability. Previously, our previous query had the whole overview, yeah? Whereas this one is now just looking at exact data, which is fine depending on what queries we're trying to run. So let's enhance it a little bit more to provide our user the ability to choose, okay? And that's where we'll end with this count one, and then we'll stop the recording and move on to the next one. Just give me 2 seconds, Trudy.
MCU Geek t-shirt. Mine didn't arrive.
Did it not?
Best thing is I've got a message at about 9:30 saying your delivery has arrived.
Aaron,
That's all right.